Through the first 3 weeks, the focus has been on key aspects of the larger macro environment in which companies potentially could compete in a global marketplace. The macro environment discussion has included an overview of globalization, national differences in many forms, the global and trade investment environment, and the global monetary system. With this chapter and for the remainder of the course, our focus will shift from the macroeconomic to the company itself, and in particular toward the decision-making of developing and executing a global expansion strategy. Prior to a discussion on the different strategies managers can pursue when developing and executing a global expansion strategy, there needs to be an understanding on the principles that define a strategy. A strategy can be defined as the action senior executive leaders take to attain the goals of the company. For the most part, the primary goal is to maximize the value of the company for its owners, its shareholders, who could be private or public. To maximize the value of the company, strategies must be pursued that focus on increasing profitability, not only in the short term, but in the long term as well. Reducing costs and expenses are important and do add to value creation. However, there is only so much that can be done in the cost reduction area. The real value creation comes in revenue growth. Profitable revenue growth can occur by pursuing strategies that increase sales in the domestic market. However, unless new products and services are constantly being offered, there will come a point where profitability growth will slow in the domestic market. The successful would-be global leader starts to look for new markets to enter in order to increase revenues and the rate of profit growth over time. As the reading states, there is a difference between corporate strategy and business strategy. Before a business strategy can even be discussed, the corporate strategy has to be fleshed out. One of the most important fundamental questions to address is, does a corporation have the organizational capabilities to handle a global expansion strategy? The reading lists a number of different types of corporate strategy that a company can pursue when developing a global expansion strategy. Additionally, there are additional strategies to consider. The first one to consider is the global standardization strategy. Firms that pursue a global standardization strategy focuses on increasing profitability and growth by reaping the cost reductions that come from economies of scale, learning effects, and location economies. In other words, their strategic goal is to pursue a low-cost strategy on a global scale. Production, marketing, and any R&D of these companies are concentrated in a few favorable locations. Very little customization of the product or service offerings, and the market strategy for the local market does not happen because it would require a change in the standard operating procedures, which would increase cost. Instead, the company wants to market standardized products and services globally so the maximum benefits from economies of scale can be maximized. Whereas the global standardization is focused on offering the same products and services in all markets, the localization strategy focuses on increasing profitability by customizing the company's products and services to the preferences in a different foreign market. Localization is most appropriate when there are substantial differences in consumer taste and preferences in the foreign market. By customizing to local preferences, the company increases the value of the product in that local market. In customizing for the local market preferences, there tends to be an increase in cost. The company will have to keep an eye on these costs and look for ways to be efficient and capture some economies of scale. First, do not confuse the strategy diamond with Porter's diamond. However, a number of these elements do have similarity with Porter's 5 competitive forces that shape strategy. To help you better understand these elements, Let's look at an example. IKEA. Arenas answers the question, where will we be active with our company? This is not just geographically speaking, but also includes what product categories you focus on, what market segments you serve, and what value change activities you will take on: design, manufacturing, selling, distribution, etc. This should be described as specific as possible. Many companies fail to clearly define the arena they want to play in, thereby creating the risk of losing focus and causing confusion among employees and customers. For IKEA, the arenas are pretty well defined. IKEA sells relatively cheap but stylish home furnishing products to primarily young, white-collar customers worldwide. This seems logical, since IKEA's main target groups are likely to have limited financial capabilities. Although IKEA maintains control of product design and selling, it outsources manufacturing to keep production costs as low as possible. This in turn reinforces IKEA's choice to sell relatively cheap products. Now, it is clear where your company will be operating. It is important to figure out how to get there. How does your company get the presence and credibility in the desired product category, market segment, geographical area, or value creation stage? Often used vehicles are internal development, joint ventures, licensing, franchising, acquisition. However, each of these options have different pros and cons depending on the type of arena the company is trying to enter and the prior knowledge and expertise the company has. IKEA has chosen primarily for organic expansion by setting up its own wholly owned stores rather than acquisitions of existing companies, as they do not fit IKEA's innovative concept. See differentiators. In addition, it is IKEA's belief that its own management should fully control its international expansion activities in order to be successful and to minimize the risk for brand damage. IKEA would not have this control with licensing or franchising agreements. Thirdly, a good strategy needs to encompass how the company wants to win in the marketplace. The question being, how will it convince customers to come its way? Companies often differentiate themselves on factors such as product quality, price, service, brand image, customization. Important here is to balance out the options you can choose from. You cannot offer the highest quality products in the market for the lowest prices. High quality usually equals higher cost. If you try to heavily focus on both, you might risk getting stuck somewhere in the middle, offering average products for average prices. IKEA doesn't offer the best quality furniture, but at least it offers reliable quality for very low prices. It also differentiates itself by offering a massive, virtually exciting store where customers can envision the possibilities of rearranging an incredible amount of furniture themselves. Finally, IKEA offers customers the possibility to take home their desired furniture immediately through an extensive inventory. Staging is all about the speed and sequence of the major moves to take. IKEA obviously started in Scandinavia with this concept, but decided to expand internationally quite rapidly in order to create economies of scale as quick as possible and decrease cost per unit. This in turn would reinforce IKEA's choice to offer low-cost products. IKEA has, however, done this only one region at a time in order to learn from every experience and to not get overwhelmed with potential cultural barriers. Moreover, we see that IKEA expanded by targeting foreign countries with similar cultural backgrounds to its home country first, before moving on to countries that are culturally more distant, like Spain, United Arab Emirates, or China. In addition, it only opened 1 or 2 stores in each country in the early stages to enthuse customers and to see how things would work out. Only later, once success had been proven in a certain country, IKEA would then expand with more stores. At the heart of each business strategy should be described how profits will be generated. After all, we are still dealing with companies. Important to note here is that we are not talking about short-term profit gains that would occur due to temporary competitive advantages based on improved operational effectiveness activities as mentioned earlier. The economic logic should deliver strong year-in and year-out profits due to a sustained competitive advantage resulting from a unique combination of different activities. In IKEA's case, its economic logic comes from its economies of scale and the standardized products it sells worldwide. Practically no other furniture retailer is able to create similar scale of economies and is therefore not able to charge lower or even similar prices for similar quality. All aforementioned decisions on the arenas, vehicles, differentiators, and staging seem to come together here to jointly reinforce IKEA's unique selling point. Value creation, strategic positioning, value chain operations, global expansion opportunities, and cost pressures are the drivers behind the need to develop a global expansion strategy. The key is to determine what is the most important strategy to develop that will fit your company's core business model.